But whenever they actually get out there, they're not doing it. And Jesus says, you know what? I don't even know you anymore. That's my interpretation of it. And it's just such a huge problem in the church that I see, and that I'm sure lots of you see. I'm sure lots of you have friends that are here at church that whenever you get out somewhere, you look at them and be like, man, that's the guy who went to church with me on Wednesday? I can't believe it. Or you can believe it, and you can't believe they're at church with you on Wednesday. But not everyone faces this problem alone. We all have to face this problem sometimes, but not everyone faces this problem alone. There's two disciples that I want to look at that dealt with this problem in the Bible. And both of them faced it differently. The two disciples are Judas and Peter. Alright? I'm guessing all of you know where I'm going with Judas. Judas is the guy who betrayed Christ, who sold Christ out and said, hey, I'll show you where it is so you can arrest him. Look at me in chapter 26, verse 14. Whenever it says, one of the 12, the one called Judas Iscariot, went to the chief priests and asked, what are you willing to give me if I hand him over to you? So they counted out for him 30 silver coins. From then on, Judas watched for an opportunity to hand him over. All right, this is Judas whenever he's not with other Christians, whenever he's not with his Jesus. He has his fake Jesus that he puts on later. And he's actually to the point to where he's planning to get Jesus. And I want to relate this to some of us here today that we already have plans to do things that aren't Christian-like. We're already planning to go out this weekend and do things. We're already planning to go see our girlfriend or boyfriend and do things with them that we shouldn't do. We're sitting here. You're just sitting here thinking about what you're going to do that isn't Christian-like. That's awful. That's horrible. That you would, I really can't think of the words for that right now, but I'm sure you know. Let's go to the next part. Just a few verses later, in verse 23, whenever he's at the Last Supper with all the 12 disciples, Jesus says, the one who has dipped his hand into the bowl with me will betray me. That is Judas. The others don't know, but that is Judas. The Son of Man will go just as it's written about him, but woe to that man who betrays the Son of Man. It would be better for him if he had never been born. Jesus hates this. Jesus already knows that he's going to betray him. Jesus isn't stupid. Jesus already knows what people are going to do before they do it. Jesus isn't stupid. If you don't get anything out of the sermon, know that Jesus isn't stupid. So anyways, this is just a few verses later. This is like 2 verses later whenever Judas brings out his PlasticJesus and like, no, Jesus, I would never betray you. What are you talking about? I wouldn't betray you. You're Jesus. You're the Son of God. Yet he already has it in the back of his mind that he's going to betray him. He already has it planned. Some of you already have something planned that maybe not betray Jesus, but it's something that you shouldn't be doing and you know it. The next person I already told you was going to be Peter. And Peter also dealt with this problem, but in a very different way. In the next verses, Peter replied, even if everyone else falls away in your account, which is pretty much saying, even if all the rest of the disciples deny you, I never will. And he believed it. I believe that Peter meant this when he says it. And what does Jesus say? He says, I tell you the truth, Jesus answered. This very night before the rooster crows, you will disown me 3 times. But Peter declared, even if I have to die with you, I will never disown you. And you see what happens is, there's also the type of person that deals with this, that they're not planning on doing anything. They're actually planning on walking out of church and being a Christian. But see what happens later to Peter is he goes to a place where everybody starts, hey, you're the guy that was with Jesus. You're the guy that's a Christian. Hey, Christian, come over here. And what does he do? He goes, no, I don't know Jesus. I don't know him. What happened was he put himself in a place where it set himself up for that. If he hadn't gone there, if he hadn't been around those people, he never would have had to try to overcome that. And you know what? He was too weak. He couldn't do it. He was too weak to do it. And a lot of times, we don't plan to do bad things. We go, I can go to this private place with my girlfriend. I can go hang out with all these people and stuff and not drink or smoke. I can handle it. But you know what? A lot of times we end up being too weak to do it. And we fall into those temptations, and we're still the same people that aren't acting like Christians outside of church. You might accidentally put away your plastic Jesus, but it's still plastic Jesus. It's still fake. Can I get an amen? Amen. People listening? Sorry, I'm just trying to, because I'm really excited up here about this. I can't stay still. I'm actually about to come to the conclusion of my sermon, which is this. Judas, he never repented for his sin. He never did anything to say, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have done that. And you know what? He ended up killing himself, and he ended up dying and going to hell. Peter, afterwards, repented of that sin, became friends with Jesus again, of course, after death, AD. I know, and Jesus actually tells him, you are the person that I'm going to build my church upon. That the same person that had his plastic Jesus and put it away at the convenient time is now repented and become the person that God is going to build his church upon. All of us come from Peter. We wouldn't be here gathered today if it weren't for Peter. And the thing is that there's hope. You know, there's not hope if you don't do anything about it. If you just plan on going back out this week and putting yourself in the same situations, planning the same things. But if you tell Jesus that you are sorry and try to change your ways, God can do great things in you. And listen, it's not until you do that God will choose to do great things in you. It wasn't until Peter repented and afterwards God did great things in him. I was going to have an altar call. Does someone want to play piano for me? That would be cool. Maybe. All right, so listen, you guys. I just want to give you the chance to tell God that you're sorry. And that, I mean, you can tell him that you want to change, and it's not going to happen until you actually change, but it's a good start. And I want to just take a moment for everyone to kind of reflect on that, because I know that there are people in here that God is speaking to your heart. He told me that very clearly. There's people in here that I have spoken to. I know that for a fact. And if you are a person in here that you say that you're like Judas and that you have something already planned that you were going to do, you do something that you know is wrong and you planned it, and you want to give that to God, I ask you to raise your hand. Thank you. All right, if you're somebody that has this problem with accidentally putting yourselves in the wrong place and then falling into temptation, that was me. There's been times where I had to step away from situations. That was me. If you're that person, I ask you to raise your hand. And a step of faith. All right, there's a lot of people in here. In fact,
I would pray with y'all.
us elders pray with y'all.
Pastor Chris and people pray with y'all.
This, that's a big step, you guys. Raising your hand and saying, yeah, that's me. I'm there. And I ask you if you would just come up to the front, just have this time of telling God that I am this person, I know it, and I want to change.